Hello everybody, this is the 10th episode of Ike's Political Minute, and today I will be going over the possibilities of who will win the 2020 presidential election if it is to be contested between Democrat Julian Castro and Republican Donald Trump. And, Julian Castro is, or was anyway, the mayor of San Antonio for some time, and he could definitely bring out the Latino vote, because think about how the Obama campaign was able to bring out black voters, especially in key states such as Pennsylvania or Michigan, and hadn't he not had such high African American turnout in places such as Detroit and Philadelphia, he likely would not have won the election. And look guys, this is the Democratic primary, you can't play the Obama card. And the Obama card that Julian Castro could definitely play with Latino voters could definitely help him, and this is not the Democratic Party, I'm correcting myself, it is the presidential election in general. However, I do think that Julian Castro does not have very much appeal at all to white working class voters, and you will definitely see that as I fill out the map. But overall, I think that this would be a close race. Here is the main reason why Julian Castro is running for president, and I'll let you guys choose for yourselves whether or not you think he's a good candidate.
Because it's time for new leadership, because it's time for new energy, and it's time for a new commitment to make sure that the opportunities that I've had are available to every American. In the years to come, we must go forward as one nation, working toward one destiny, and that destiny is to be the smartest, the healthiest, the fairest, and the most prosperous nation on earth.
So, as you can see, Julian Castro is a very new kind of Democrat. Very new, like, say, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, but definitely not as progressive. And for that reason, I think that he could do very well in some regions of the country and do very poorly in others. And that's just to start out, so I will begin now. So, Maine, I do think that Julian Castro does not have very much appeal to the Northeast or the Midwest. I think that the Northeast and the Midwest are two areas where the Democrats are either going to do quite well in or they're not. And we are definitely seeing that with some candidates, and I think that since Julian Castro is better equipped to appeal to, say, the Western voters or the just Southern voters in general, I do not think that he would do well in Maine, which is why I would actually give the Maine 2nd Congressional District to Donald Trump by a likely margin, since Trump carried it by double digits in 2016, and I think that he could definitely do the same in 2020. Julian Castro, I think that, in his case, the Maine 1st Congressional District would lean Democrat, and the Maine at-large district, actually I would make the 1st district likely blue. Maine at-large, I would just have tilt Democrat. I think that Maine is definitely becoming a more competitive state. Now with New Hampshire I would say would be a lean Republican state, because George W. Bush carried the state in 2000, and pretty much the only reason that it went blue in 2004 was because John Kerry was on the ticket. And I definitely do think that since Trump did better than Mitt Romney in New Hampshire, he could definitely carry it this time. The rest of New England, again, very safe Democrat. Don't see how it could flip to Donald Trump from Julian Castro. And now we get to the Midwest. I do think that Trump would win Pennsylvania by a narrow margin. Again, I do not think that Castro's appeal to the white working class is very strong, and for that same reason I am also putting Ohio in the likely column, and also Michigan in the tilt column for Trump, and Wisconsin in the lean column for Trump. And now we're going to get to Iowa. Trump carried Iowa by 10 percentage points in 2016, and Iowa is supposed to be a swing state? With this kind of candidate, Trump could easily win Iowa by a safe margin. And Minnesota, I do think that Trump could narrowly carry Minnesota again because of Castro's lack of appeal to the white working class. Now, Illinois is still a safe Democrat. I would put that in the Castro column. Trump, however, would soundly carry Indiana, Missouri, Kentucky, and West Virginia. Now, this is where I think Castro's numbers will go up. I do think that Castro is the right kind of candidate, like a Hillary Clinton type of candidate, like a Joe Biden kind of candidate, except with the Latino vote. I do think that he would do quite well in Virginia, which is definitely diversifying, especially in Northern Virginia. However, I do think that Trump would narrowly carry North Carolina. I think that that would tilt Republican for him. South Carolina, safe red. Georgia, I think that it would lean Republican. Julian Castro could definitely galvanize minorities, like he did like Stacey Abrams did in Georgia during the gubernatorial race. And Florida, I would actually tilt for Julian Castro. And look, guys, again, Castro, a lot of you guys are going to think it's actually going to hurt him because of Cubans. I mean, they escaped this evil Fidel Castro dude, so why am I putting it in the tilt Democratic column? Well, let's just think about it. I think that Julian Castro is going to be able to run the right kind of campaign for Florida. I think that Bill Nelson and Andrew Gillum both lost because they were either too centrist or too progressive, and I think that Julian Castro really could galvanize the Latino vote in Florida that does vote Democrat, which again is still in the majority, and for that reason I do think that Florida would tilt for Julian Castro. Rest of the Bible Belt, as well as the Red Wall, I do think that would be safe for Donald Trump. Along with the Nebraska 2nd Congressional District, it's quite working class. I don't see how Julian Castro could win there. Now, again, the Southwest, Latino territory, Julian Castro would win soundly in Colorado and New Mexico. Arizona would tilt Democrat. I do think that Arizona, with how it's become so much more purple, and again, Julian Castro's appeal to minority vote, I mean, yes, in Florida, it's complicated because there are Cubans there, but he would easily win the Latino vote that is present in Arizona. And Texas, I actually think, would lean Republican, since this is his home state, and I think that he could galvanize San Antonio and the surrounding areas like New Braunfels, where he's frankly still quite popular. And Hawaii, I would make safe Democrat, along with the rest of these West Coast states. And in Nevada, I would lean Democrat. I think that, although the polls generally show a close race in Nevada almost always goes Democrat. And Trump would win Alaska, finishing this off with Trump having won the election with 280 electoral votes to Castro's 258. Thank you everybody for watching this video. Please comment down suggestions below. And I will see you all later.